big mistake we often make, eating less be your first and only line of defense. Ready to take a walk into the light? Why is eating in a calorie deficit, which sounds pretty clear-cut, eat less food than your body needs? Why is that not working? Stick around. I'm going to tell you exactly why it's not working and what you can do today to make eating in a calorie deficit work for you. After successfully and finally losing 80 pounds, I joined team. Being in a calorie deficit is not quite so simple. Let's face it, if adhering to a calorie deficit was as simple as it sounds, then wouldn't more of us be walking around as the leaner, more toned versions of ourselves? I threw so many things against the wall, hoping they would stick. I demonized fruits, meat, rice, potatoes, green beans, ham, on and on so many occasions, trying to create a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. It was through trial, tearful errors that I began to see the mistakes I kept making with my calorie intake. Don't you just love when the light bulbs come on? Ready to take a walk into the light? How many times have you heard someone say, go Google calorie calculator? It will show you how much to eat. How much to eat to lose weight? More than once, twice, thrice? Oh wait, I think I've said Google it. Go on Google. You can Google that. It's time to Google it a time or two. Maybe Google should make that a jingle. You can Google it. Google it. Go on and Google it. Google it. Google it. We Google everything, right? Googling how to use a calorie calculator to get a working estimate of how many calories your body needs isn't bad advice. Applying the information incorrectly, that's what we want to avoid. Because that's what we're doing. We are misapplying the information we are getting while we're trying to eat in a calorie deficit to lose a little bit of something. That's okay. Today, we're going to do better. The first mistake is twofold. One, not understanding our resting metabolic rate number. That's red flag number one. Red flag number two is overestimating the intensity of workouts in our daily activity. Let me break it down for you. I sauntered myself over to my computer, entered the data into the calorie calculator, saw that the amount of calories I needed to eat was around 1,400 calories. The general going advice in the whole fitness community is that in order to create a calorie deficit for yourself, you want to eat between 250 to 500. Some people go as high as 1,000 calories less than the amount of calories that your body needs. Okay, are you starting to see where this is going wrong? So 1,400 calories, that's what my number told me. That left me with food intake, if I wanted to create a calorie deficit, that would leave me in the 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day range. Don't look at me like that. Today, I know how unwise that sounded. But back then, I was all in for at least a 4 month where I stayed hungry. Energy? What was that? That kind of a calorie deficit? That was calorie deficit gone wrong. Did you know that our resting metabolic rate is the number of energy calories you and I need in order for our bodies to perform functions like breathing, digesting food, to pump blood throughout our bodies, for hair growth, to go on short walks, to use the bathroom, to sweat or shiver? Because I don't know about you, but I stay cold. Am I the only one?
Yo, comment down below.
When done the right way, the calorie calculator we want to use is called Total Daily Energy Expenditure, or TDEE, not the resting metabolic calculator. Yeah, because there's more than one. There are calculators for everything. There's calculators for building muscle mass, eating in a surplus, how much protein to eat, how much carbohydrates, fat, fiber. There are calculators for everything. We want to make sure we are using the right calculator when creating a calorie deficit so we don't deficit ourselves up. The TDEE calculator factors in our age, height, weight, and activity level. When I used that calculator, that gave me a completely different number from the resting metabolic number. The TDEE number said, girl, you better eat something. Go get some food. I was like, yes. So be sure you choose the right calculator based on what you are looking to obtain. Remember, I said mistake number one was twofold. Here's the second fold. Overestimating how much energy is being expended during the day. That includes exercise. I mistakenly thought that my feeling tired and exhausted at the end of the day or throughout the day meant that I was using a lot of energy. I took that and I put that in that little calculator. I equated my exhaustion to mean that my activity level should be recorded as heavy. When I inputted my information into the calorie calculator, wrong. That gave me a huge number, and I came to find out over time that I was actually eating in a surplus, not deficit. The weight wasn't weighted. At best, my activity level is moderate when I am lifting 4 to 5 times a week and I walk 30 minutes a day. Outside of that, I am pretty sedentary. My work does not require me to be up on my feet, walking around, or carrying heavy packages. Overestimating how active I actually was led to me not really being in a calorie deficit and not reaping the benefits of fat loss. If you are not really into exercising or exercising 1 to 2 times a week for 30 minutes or less, then please enter those parameters into the calorie calculator. That heavy intensity level, that's for athletes. My son, he has heavy as his activity. He plays basketball. He is forever on the move, helping out, doing projects here and there, climbing up ladders. He's doing all the things throughout the day. He strength trains hard. I lift weights. Me, I'm down here doing, a couple of curls here and there, leg press, a squat or two, and then I go and sit my tail down in front of my computer and I have beautiful conversations with amazing people. That's it. Oh, right. I get up and I maybe make a meal, but I meal prep, so I'm not making a meal every day. I do the dishes. Well, no, my son does the dishes, so I'm not doing a whole lot during the day. Remember that when you are factoring in your activity level, that will help you get a better estimation of how much calories your body really truly needs so that you can achieve that calorie deficit to get to your goals. A big mistake we often make when eating in calorie deficit to lose weight is number 2, not being willing to make reasonable adjustments to that calorie intake number based on our body's feedback. I don't know how often I can scream that. Understand your body's feedback. Nobody knows your body better than you do. If after 2 weeks you are not experiencing a slight change in the weekly average of your weight, or your clothes are not fitting differently, or some other positive change is missing in action, be willing and ready to recalibrate. Don't do what I did. I thought the calculated number of calories I needed to eat to lose weight was set in stone, period. No changes. That's it. This is just what I need to do. I lacked the knowledge at that time that after some time, the number that started out being my calorie deficit number would eventually become my calorie maintenance number, which is the number that causes me not to lose nor gain weight. I'm like neutral. That's a maintenance number. Over time, our calorie deficit numbers totally becomes our maintenance number. Now I know that as our bodies release excess fat stores, the process of adaptation comes into play. That's what it looks like when the calorie deficit shifts and becomes the maintenance. We have adapted to that. Our bodies and our metabolism adapts to the amount of calories we eat, making that the new norm or baseline, and it ceases to be the calorie intake for a calorie deficit. And now that I say it out loud, that can be a bummer. So what can we do other than throw our hands up in despair? I found that keeping a record of my weekly progress of food, my weight, and or photos of me made it easier for me to spy out where I could make tweaks to put me back on the path towards my goal. Calorie deficit mistake number 3, taking on an all or nothing approach and packing ourselves into a box for no good reason. All or nothing had me thinking that I had to either 1, eat very low calories to lose weight, or 2, I could eat as much as I wanted as long as I exercised enough to make up for my indiscretions. Eating that way was a really quick, fast way for me to destroy any calorie deficit I thought I was in, hence no weight loss was happening. Hear me on this. If you don't remember anything else from our conversation today, try as best as you can to not let eating less be your first and only line of defense for weight loss. Pause the video, slide it back, and hear that again. Do not let eating less be your first and only line of defense for weight loss. There are so many other options to consider, such as changing up your workout, improving your sleep hygiene, refining how you handle stressors, and selecting higher quality, more satiating foods. Oh, and please, let's not make the error of trying to eat back the calories you thought you burned for the day. That's a no. Now let me balance out some of all the no's with a cheat code for you. When you strength train and life happens, because it will happen, and you're not able to work out as consistently, you will notice your body not regaining weight as quickly or at all if you continue to have a healthy relationship with food. That's a very different story outcome if you use cardio solely as your source of fitness during your weight loss journey. The weight seems to come back with a vengeance so much quicker when it's only cardio in the picture. Have you noticed that too? Number 4, not having an objective way to measure progress is another pitfall we don't factor in when eating to lose body fat. The number of trials and errors, failed attempt after the next, happened before I realized that I could not just wing it. When I was in my 30s, I could maybe wing it. After turning the corner into 40, winging it? That's a no. Adjusting to life at 52, winging it? Certainly not. In order to have sustainable weight loss, the kind that can be maintained for over a decade plus, and a better quality of life, it is a must to become aware of what we are eating and how it impacts us. It's time for us to stop engaging in haphazardous eating. It is a sign of a not so good relationship with food. When we know better, we gotta do better. So eat well, stay active.